What's up? What's up? Hope you all are doing well. Today is, what is today? Today is February 26th, 2024. It's Monday. And the question is, are we back? Right? Are we back? Yeah, I want to say a lot of things are back. Maybe not everything, but a lot of things are back. There's been a lot of inflows in the BTC, obviously. Just as I was kind of, getting things ready to go for the stream, I'm literally watching Bitcoin go from 55K to shoot up to, 57K. And this is the type of, I would say, when we're looking at assets, this is the type of movement that only something like crypto can have. Like, real talk. We have not seen an asset class that moves this rapidly. But here's the interesting thing about it. So these TradFi guys, right? They're coming into the market. They say, hey, we want this Bitcoin stuff. We want some of this Ethereum as well. What are we noticing? We're noticing that they like to also buy the proxies, and they can buy the proxies first. Proxies being things like MicroStrategy, proxies being like the Coinbase stock, and all of the crypto mining companies, Riot, Marathon, all that jazz. The crazy part about that is, as of right, and why I say that the alt season really hasn't started yet, because even crypto stocks are outperforming most of the alts. And so with that being said, this is the flow. You're going to see Bitcoin go. You're going to see Ethereum go. But you already know what's on the other end of that, right? Those altcoins that we have, that we've been accumulating over the past almost 2 years now, really. The day is coming. The day is coming where we're going to start to really see those 10x, those 20x, those 50x gains. Plus, and that's what we're all here for. So appreciate y'all for coming through, man. It's been a lively last 2 days. We've had some liquidations. We've had a lot of things going on. We'll talk about it. So what we got in the chat? Let's see. So we got some things here. People talking. Okay, for sure. Well, we're going to get into some of this stuff, man. The question is, are we back? And I would say when it comes to price appreciation, Yes, but you'll be surprised. There's so many people out here still that literally they're like, crypto, I don't know. They even either that or they have no clue about it still. And we're already getting back up to all time highs. So just imagine the wave that comes when people really, really come back. The user bases for a lot of these new networks or these cycle one and cycle two coins, they're growing, but we still don't have that hockey stick moment for the network growth. So what does that mean? That means there's still some time, but time is dwindling down. Every time I get here on stream, I say every single time, the higher the price goes, the higher the risk for the investor. So why wait? Why wait? A lot of people want to wait for a perfect dip, but as you can see, things ain't looking too dippy right now, and that's just what it is because that's what the bull run does. Prices can go higher faster than what you could ever imagine during that time. So stop guessing and get into the market. This is what it is. It's really that simple. So I have some things today that we want to go ahead and take a look at, y'all. There's been some things that have been developing, and it's just nice to see. Like I really do want to start off with the BTC chart just to get a good glance. What are we doing currently? So let's check over to there and get this thing started. So BTC, how are we looking? And things are looking pretty good. Like, we have some other things going. But really, like I said, like BTC is up over the past 24 hours, 3.4%. And the rate of change for Bitcoin is just faster. That's just what it is. It's faster than all these other alts. I got plenty of alts to look at here. Now, there may be a couple that are, kind of outperforming. But here's the thing, like I was talking. Y'all see this right here? Let me see if I can kind of move myself out the way for now. Y'all see MicroStrategy right here? Legitimately, MicroStrategy is up 15%. So this is a stock, y'all. And so this is letting you know who is doing the buying. Key thing, because it's always important to understand, like, okay, who is doing this buying? Things like the Ethereum trust, right? Grayscale trust going up about 9.5%. Coinbase stock, look at this, $193 up 16%. HUD 8 up 17%. Marathon, Riot up 21 and 17% as well. And our alts, some of the alts are doing okay, 3%. Oh, would you look at that? Pith Network, so up 20%. These are things that I've mentioned. If you're in the vaults of crypto, hey, you would have knew about this, right? Weeks ago. But this is a coin that we talked about recently. And yeah, we're approaching that dollar. So with that being said, things are looking all right. I want to say that at the end of the day, it's all about positioning, understanding the narratives, understanding how are you going to operate emotionally, having a plan, the DCA, but then also the DCA out. And all of these are contributing factors to how you do personally within a bull run or within a cycle. So like I said, let's go back to Bitcoin. And if we're looking at the Heikin-Ashi trend, what can we see? Like if we look at the Hatter, Heikin-Ashi trend reversal, what do we see? We see momentum in the bear run do its thing, but as you can see, all 2023 and 24 has been predominantly up. So those last times to really get great value for BTC was when it was 25K, and we've already done a double off that, 27K. We've come up past the 100-day moving average, and typically the way that I coded this up, it will not fire off and give a buy signal unless any price is below the 100-day moving average. Ideally, in the perfect world, that's when you want to be doing most of your investing. But as you can see, we're clearly above the 100-day moving average. And things are looking pretty good. We're right at 56,000 and some change. And so if we want to kind of do a little bit more TA on this, we can look at the RSI. RSI is pumping on the daily. What does it look like on the weekly? The weekly, we are currently making some nice rushes to the upside with pace. So 81 for the weekly reading for the RSI. That's some strength, y'all. Like we really have a lot of strength into this move, really from like 30K from October of 2023, y'all, till today. That move has been very strong and is reminiscent of a full-fledged bull, And so as we look at the RSI, let's compare it to some of these other moments in time and cycles. This is that time in summer of 2019 at this level right here, similar level at about like 80. where we've seen Bitcoin stall out, have a little bit more bearish trend for an additional like 4 months or so, and then it's full on bull run. There's time periods like the cycle previous where you come up and you play around with this level of 80 and anywhere between 80 to 90, but several times. Like y'all can kind of see how this cycle, it was just pushing the issue, pushing, and even some of these other smaller peaks here of where it's consistently having strength after strength after strength after strength after strength. And the key thing is with these bull runs, understanding that you are staying well above the midline. So, that's something to pay attention to. And especially in a bull run on the weekly chart, if you get anywhere close to the midline, those are those DCA opportunities. If you're trying to DCA in a bull run, And so like we had that opportunity back here in August and September, and then we took off in October. And we've really, I would say really since October of 2023, the strength of this move has stayed above 70, which is, way above the average for an asset. So something to kind of consider. And yeah, this is what crypto is, man. The pace of how this stuff moves can really catch you off guard. The more astonishing chart is to look at this monthly candle. Like this monthly candle, if we want to compare this monthly candle to other time periods, how far you want to go back, we can really see that this candle right here, look at this monthly candle is probably very reminiscent of candles like this, in previous bull runs like that, stuff like that. And then you got to ask yourself, when you have monthly candles that look like that, and the key is it's a full body candle. This is not a candle that is having a large wick at the top. We had that last month, but this month we got 2 more trading days, basically, 2.5 trading days. This thing is going to close pretty full. Chad candle is 100%. Hold on, let me put that up because that's 100% correct. Chad candle, Chad, 100%. So typically when you have these candles, and I'm just going to extract the data and we can just go back through the whole lifeline of Bitcoin. When you have these large body candles that don't have wicks above them, typically you still have more upside action in the month after, So what do we see? Like other candles where we had something that looked similar, like was here. We had a candle like there where we had positive momentum the 2 months after. Even situations like here where we had a big Chad candle here. Guess what? That month after, yeah, it stalled out, but we were able to delineate and notice the difference because of that large wick. That sell-off was, something to consider and notice. But understand the timing where they started taking interest rates, up during this time, and then they had to slam back down for COVID. So understand the environment as well. But even if we go back to the last cycle and we're just looking at monthly candles, right? Same thing. Something of this ilk, of this type of strength, I mean, to be honest, man, stuff like that, right? Things like that. These are candles that you find in a bull run. So if you're still contemplating or if you're still waiting, I really don't understand why. I'm not sure. This is where a lot of people are basically making mistakes by just watching. Watching can be a mistake. Watching for too long. Analysis paralysis. This is something that because the cost basis is so important. Once your cost basis is so high, it leaves you with some upside, but just know it's just more minimal. And that's for every asset, and, like same thing. We're looking at even cycles back here in 2013 where we had these Chad candles. And this is reminiscent of, you don't get this in the sideways accumulation range. This is what a bull run looks like. So welcome. It's been a fun ride. Are we back? For Bitcoin, Bitcoin's on its way, man. It's back and doing the same. The rest of the crypto, we on the way. And that's the key, right? Understand the arbitrage between those. Let's look at Ethereum now. So Ethereum, what can we see? It has broken out. So we have ascending wedge and it has broken out very nicely. And so, it's pretty basic. And this is just TA 101. You take the length, bottom of the wedge, you attach it to the breakout, and What is the projection? And the projection is towards all-time high. We have already accomplished that in one candle this month. So you got to ask yourself, over the next 6 months, what's the likelihood and probability that we will make it to all-time high? And based upon the momentum off of this candle, it seems fairly probable. This understanding of how to know and see momentum is very key. And how you can see this even more, look at the Heikin-Ashi candles, right? And so, several Heikin-Ashi candles in sequence month after month, that's always a positive thing. Typically, for things to truly turn around, you would see, multiple red candles and say, hey, this move is done. And as of right now, we had a stall out. So Ethereum stalled out where we had some smaller red candles on the Heikin-Ashi chart, but then it picked right back up once again in October. And so this is a great development because, as we know, Ethereum is the proxy for the rest of altcoins. Let's see what we got. So Make Money says millions of shorters got liquidated today. They are all fumbling back in. Well, and here's the thing. So let's talk, because, I didn't always know this. And so let's talk about it. So when someone is shorting or longing in a market, if they get liquidated, they become a forced buyer or seller. So for example, let's say you are shorting Bitcoin at whatever price point, and it goes up a certain percentage against, your leverage point. And depending on how much leverage you're using, you have less wiggle room. Like, you have more leverage, less wiggle room for the price movement and the volatility. So if it goes against your trade, then you essentially become a forced, whatever it is, opposite of what you're doing. So if you're shorting, you become a forced buyer. So that liquidity actually goes back into the market on the buy side, and thus you get liquidated and price pumps higher. So there's a positive effect, because it's not only just, hey, people just lose their money, they become forced buyers. And then again, then also there's extra FOMO on top of that too. Other people are like, oh snap, let me get a part of this move. So this is a great development. And the thing is, like, for Ethereum this cycle, man, it looks like it's really starting to get going. Like, it's we haven't had these large candle bodies for Ethereum, except for that recovery coming off of that situation with all the liquidations, Luna, 3Ls Capital, and all that kind of stuff in June of 2022. So that candle right after was that recovery candle. But since then, this candle is the only candle that has been of anything of this type of strength. So when there's strength, the thing is, you want to buy before the strength, ideally. But then, hey, don't wait. I can't say this enough. I've been saying it literally for like the past 3 or 4 months, like doing these streams. All the people that have been waiting for this perfect dip, all you doing is wrecking yourself to the upside. So the way to go about it is you incrementally DCA into a market. You don't put all your money, but you get exposure before certain levels. And you need to know what those levels are. And so, for example, the exposure that you can still take without it being too crazy risky is before we get to price discovery. And here's the thing, y'all. Look at this. Ethereum. This is the number 2 coin in all of crypto, getting all types of liquidity, right? This thing is legitimately 46% away from all-time highs, give or take. This candle that we've experienced in this last month, this candle by itself has been about 43%. So the choice is yours, because the key is, once you hit price discovery, right? So for example, see that, then that's when things really get expansive. Like, for the people, let's say you got a dollar cost average, somewhere in here, like $200. Okay, cool. You hit that price discovery and you get to all-time highs, you have a 450% gain. But when things get real funky and real nice for your portfolios, when you start getting those candles, those big green candles, those chatty candles above the all-time high price. And then so that's when you start to like, oh, snap, now I'm at 10x. Literally 2 months later, oh, snap, now I'm at 20x. Literally just 6 months later. So that's what it's all about. That significantly changes for you if you're only willing to buy once things get to its all-time high. So someone who's positioned for 20x versus someone who waited this additional 8 months to a year. Some person gets a 20x, they get a 3x. Crypto's not the same for everybody. So crypto has never been the problem. Real true crypto has never been the problem. Why people have a bad experience with it is because they don't know how to invest. They're trading, they're just buying, and people who buy stuff are different than investors. That's a key. That's a bar right there. Like, please remember that. Just because you bought something don't make you an investor. An investor understands a lot more than, hey, how to just buy something or how to sell something. Understanding how to position your portfolio and how to be a manager. Once you become a manager of funds, a manager of your personal finance, now you can actually consider yourself an investor. That's a topic to really think about, y'all, if y'all haven't thought in that way. Yeah, what else we got? And y'all, fill up the chat, y'all. I'm answering every single question that I can. We need to definitely talk about everything today. So that you can cause a cascade, yeah, while it pumps. And that's the thing, yes, like that's what happens. It's like a cascading effect to the opposite side while all these ETFs are just filling up their chambers in coins, 100%. It is a positive feedback loop. Big old circle. And so know the game, win the game. Don't know the game, lose the game. That's just how it works, man. That's how it works. So we got the basics down, looking at just price trajectory, understanding pace, understanding momentum. A lot of people don't talk about these things. They just say, oh, well, let me just and here's the average TA. Let me go ahead and grab this indicator and draw this and A, B, C, X, Y, W, whatever, And then the Bollinger Band say, and they throw on 17 indicators and saying, this is why this is going to happen. That stuff could be helpful. Or first, understand the basics. Understand that people will always buy green candles because they see, ooh, money being made over there. I want to taste. Let me get some of that. That's just 101 human nature. You can know human nature and be a better investor than most people that know TA, truthfully. So I'm going to give y'all a little bit of everything because we need everything to complete the journey. We need some of that knowledge to complete the journey. We need the TA. We need all right, let's understand the emotions of how people react. We need to have some diligence in understanding ETF flows for sure. We need to understand some things like NVRV, risk premium. We need to understand some of these terms. But all the while, the biggest thing is to know hey, you need to just chill out and just buy the right things. But then on top of that, just hold for a good amount of time. You want to hold for more than a year. Why? Because tax is an issue. You'd rather pay long-term capital gains tax than short-term capital gains tax. Pay 20 or 15% instead of 40 or 50. You save money there. So that's the key. Knowing all these factors are very important. What else we got in the comments? So address 19 hex. Oh, what are you saying? So 19 hex per T-share yesterday. Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay, yeah. That's another phenomena. I've done streams on hex and I talked about the T-share rate, how it ratchets up every single time there's a stake in. So learn how to identify scarce assets and the things that make them scarce. T-share is becoming increasingly more scarce. The dollar is not. So question is, what are we buying? Well, for those that were in the Vaults of Crypto or those that are in it, as of right now, I want to say we were at 20 or 25 members, somewhere in there. We've got plenty of room, y'all. Come on in. But we're only going to 100. It's just, think about it like 300. There's only going to be 100 warriors that we're going on this journey. You can be a part or you can just sit back. You'll get some stuff here, but you're going to get it way later than all of us. So I talked about Pith Network. That's what we buying. But we did that a long time ago. So let's scroll on down. And I'm answering this question real quick. Let's go ahead and scroll on down. Let me see if I can find it. It's up 20%. Oh, just in the last 10 minutes of me talking, it's up another 5%. Must be nice. So look at these monthly candles, right? And let's just put this on the daily chart. So we were having conversations about this. And the thing about it is, this is a Oracle database that captures data from many exchanges, many places to transmit to different dexes or different dApps. on many ecosystems, Solana, Ethereum, everywhere. And the thing that makes them just slightly, well, a lot more different than Chainlink, one, cycle, one coin, but two, they get their data from, Chainlink gets their data from four main providers. Pyth gets their data that they basically repackage to display on all these websites and dApps that we use, and they get their data from over like 100 data points. So it can be better synced and more congruent and more accurate. This is not a saturated. This is not a saturated aspect within crypto. There's some other oracles, but none of them are at the caliber of Pyth and Chainlink. Chainlink has been leading in this cycle for quite some time, breaking out before Bitcoin and all that good jazz. But now Pyth, cycle one coin, that's doing the same thing as Chainlink, but much faster, more efficient, for more data points. And I'm just giving you guys the cliff notes, y'all. Y'all go ahead and do the rest of y'all research. But if you need to understand and know more, we've got all the links and all the sit down and conversation over and over about this. You know, we've been doing it for weeks already. So at 72 cents, you know, so for example, maybe if you were buying the dip, you know, you'd be up about 40% in the last week, give or take. You know, for myself, you know, the entry point was at a much earlier point, but it's still early for this, right? You know, it's less than $1, 75 cents. And like, you know, one thing you have to understand is, hey, and I said the same thing for Say. Are you going to wait for it to get to $1? And we're the same thing talking about Say when it was 65, 70 cents. And, you know, Say is, guess what? It touched $1 already. It retraced back, but guess what? It's, you know, it's on its way to break out, just like how it broke out past these wicks. Wicks likes to get, so understand this, wicks like to get filled in a bull run. So these wicks got filled with this one candle. These wicks will get filled with the candle coming soon. So ask yourself the same question. You know, same thing talking about Say since 2023. Are you going to wait? Because, for example, why waiting is not always the best option, or waiting for that 50% dip, is because let's say this, and I'm giving hypothetical here. Let's say this is something, we do this retracement, whatever the case is, you know. Let's say this is an asset through time, makes its way to, let's call it $5, in between $5 and $2.50, somewhere in there. Okay. And so just understand how positioning is so important. The people that didn't wait, and wherever you're at in this queue of investors, the people that are buying at $1, right? Their upside potential is, okay, cool. For hypothetical, 130% to a 4x. Kudos. Like that's good. That's really good. And under the time frame, that's better than most things. But understand there's a difference between that person and the people that said, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead, instead of waiting for $1 at that 50 cent mark. Okay. Their upside minimum is, you know, 350%, give or take, to about 900%. So they have double. And all it is, like, this person legitimately was, I'm talking a few weeks ahead. Like, we're not even talking someone that's like 6 months ahead. Like, literally the results vary by weeks in crypto. I think that's something that we definitely I gotta clip that and say that again. Results vary by weeks in crypto. Truthfully, somebody that invested 2 weeks before you could literally double the amount of gains they get simply by saying, hey, you know what? And think about it. Y'all already know, and ask yourself, there's been things that you've been indecisive on, and it's not just crypto, but just in life, that you're like, man, if I would have just said, hey, you know what? As I'm learning, let me just at least get some exposure here. You wish you would have did that. But in crypto, it matters a lot. And let's not talk about what happens if you are months ahead. So the people that say, hey, I'm not going to wait for 50 cents, but the people like myself that's like, hey, around like 25 or 30 cents, right? So base case, you're getting your 10x. And so because I'm going to the same price point for all of them. And so they vary. So you go from somebody that waited, 3 or 2 months later, whatever, they get their 4X. The people that waited a little bit longer but still took action a little sooner get their 9X. The people that was like, I see this kind of bubbling up. I'm going to wait, but I'm going to wait for this first dip. Your boy here, 20X. So, for example, big difference between this person and this person. Their 4X, 20X. 20X on 10 grand is 200K. I'm sorry. Well, yeah. 20X on 10 grand is 200K. That's correct. 4X on 10 grand, 40,000. Now, mind you, both are large sums of money. They are. But for example, 40 grand, you can't buy no house with 40 grand. 200 grand, you could probably buy a house and pay it off, or a good amount of it somewhere in the United States. Maybe not all places. But there's some places where you could at least put 50, 60, 80% down for about 200K. 40K, yeah, you might get you, 5% down on a house with that. Nowadays, everything's expensive. So literally, if that's what your goal is, I'm trying to make things plain. If that's what your goal is, I want to own a home one day. 40K could get you in the door, but you got to get a lot of debt still. For example, by being just a couple months earlier, you could be in a position to not have to borrow as much money as the next man. If you do want to, do this example, like I'm saying, buying a home. 3 months can make the biggest difference, y'all. So that's something to always remember as we go higher. All right. So with that being said, say is what we're buying. What else are we buying? Pith Network. That's what we're buying. Of course. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Of course we're buying PulseChain. Of course. We've been buying PulseChain, right? Now, let's check over to PulseChain. Let's see what's good, and especially PulseX. So let's go to Dex Screener. Let me put myself on a big screen really quick. I'm going to do this in the background. So what are we buying? We are buying good quality things, y'all. So PulseChain. And we'll go to PulseChain, and then we'll go ahead and look at some other things here in a bit. So let's go to Dex Screener in the back. How do y'all feel? Or do y'all feel back? Like, does your portfolio feel like it's back? I know some people are maybe breaking even because they held from the top. If you did any type of DCAing in the bear, you should definitely be past break even if you bought the top last cycle. But ain't that about let's hold on, y'all. Because another thing that we're buying in the vaults of crypto, and I was like, look, y'all, I know I normally don't do the meme coins, but I'm participating in these few, and I put the list out, but I'll put one of them up here today. And all the people in the group, they know this already. It's something about it, man. It's something about it. Let me go ahead and pop this up. So check this out. Dog with hat. Woof, woof. 57 cents. But in the past 24 hours, man, I just made 64% more on my allocation in a day. Like, where else in the world can you do that? Sit back, let your assets grow, and you can just sit back and kind of be like, hey, I did the research, so I get to win. I get to win. 64% in one day. Dog with hat. Just something I'm just kind of noticing before we get to PulseChain. The chart is very constructive for a dog with hat. I'm literally just giving the coin shout outs, y'all. Like, I'm literally saying, hey, this is what's in my portfolio. Let's see what we got. Let's see if this is going to give us some information. And y'all can get this on Radium. It's on the Solana Network. And it's the same thing. Like, I was like kind of, doing my TA. Because I was doing a consultation with somebody. And what I told him was, I was like, hey, even if we get half of this move here, half. That's what these bars patterns are. Half of this move. And this was during a duration from December 8th of 2023 to December 21st. So we're talking 2 weeks. If we have a whole year or two to do moves in crypto, if we get half of this, and from the point of when I was telling him was when it was at 32 cents, not 56. So he should already be close to a double. But locked in something like a 13x with half of that move. So look at the probability. This is the number one meme coin on the most popular chain right now. It's going to carry some popularity to retail as things go on. Look at how people are coming in and buying this. Like, hold on. Like, look at how people are bringing liquidity here. People just bring, he just bring like what, 5-6 grand. It's like, I'll take my money, right? And so, when things have these moves like this, the sideways action is the opportunity. Because guess what? It's coming, y'all. So I told you here, there's a meme coin out there. If you have not heard about it, go do a little research. There's not much research to do. It's a meme coin, but the information is here, but you got to know where to get it. I get some on YouTube, but everything is in the vault. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Go to vaultofcrypto.com, tap that services link, or just go to the description in the bio and or at the bottom of this stream and hop on in. So, but yeah, go ahead and lock in your 15x on your meme coin. Have some fun with it. Crypto doesn't always have to be so serious. I say like 90% of the time, yeah, you got to be on your P's and Q's, pay attention to a lot of things, metrics, or, be around people that are. But then again, the other 10%, go ahead and have some fun with it. So, dog with hat. Anyways, I got sidetracked. Let's go to Pulse Chain. So, Pulse Chain. Let's take a look and see liquidity between PulseX and Pulse Chain, 61 million. It's okay, but we already know, like, the Hex ecosystem I've seen where there's locked up hundreds of millions of dollars, so 60 million ain't nothing quite yet. But look at all this green. Look at all this buy. Like, people want the asset in the last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes. People want this because they're seeing something. But just in general, we had that little bit of fake out. We were having some support bounce, fake out, got the people who were like, man, we're going to keep going down, and then we pop back up. But, something that I'm always telling people, some of the basic easy TA things to use the MACD. So you're seeing those transitional periods where you see these red candles go to the downside. Once you flip over to light red, it's ball game. Go ahead and get your DCA in. And typically you're going to have some momentum. It may only be a few days or a week. So you might catch a situation where you have a lot of momentum with a lot of buy pressure, or maybe a little momentum, but definitely, like, these are the advantageous times. So for example, I don't even have to have the price chart up to tell you guys February 25th, which was, not too long ago, a few days ago, was a better time to be buying versus today. And so line that up. Simple, y'all. Using the MACD, basic stuff. So that was a better time. You could have got in at, 4.6 versus today at 5.2. So this breakout is on its way. So let's go ahead and TA that up a little bit so we can change the characteristics slightly now that we have the new price data. So this breakout is increasing in strength, higher highs or higher lows as well. And, the breakout from this point here to about that point there put us somewhere in that box. So somewhere in this box through time. And so this is going to get PulseX back above SAC. And as you can see, it really takes 3 to 4 days, because look at this time period here, 3 to 4 days to say, hey, we want this, and some larger players to come into play. Just like how all of a sudden larger players wanted to participate in Bitcoin. It's going to be the same thing for all this stuff. It's all of a sudden the larger players, they're not always first, y'all. They're really not. Like, so let's definitely use this to the advantage. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what everybody's waiting for. So let's talk about this. Now, why do we have these arrows here? Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. Let me see if I can move this over. Okay, we want to hide this. I want to see the full chart. So why do I have these arrows? Because, I'm going to keep shilling the value that we have in the Volta Crypto chat and all the things that you get on TradingView that you can use on a daily basis. Every one of these arrows was times when I was saying, hey, Please don't forget about post-X. Please don't forget about post-chain during this basin of price. So going all the way back to September, I'm like, hey, don't forget about post-X here. Don't forget about post-chain here. Don't forget about ink. Don't forget about it here. Don't forget about it here. So all of this good all eaten right there. And so let's just take an average. I always like saying, hey, trying to say, oh, we got the exact low. Who cares about it? Get a good dollar cost average at the low basin. That's job number one. What do I want to show? So, here we go. So let's say, the average is, between somewhere in here. Right? Boom. So you had 5 months to really get it done. You'll have maybe here from January to who knows, maybe back into March or April to get it done in this level. But understand the shuffle of what happens. People that basically took their profits here, they are now out of the market. Then the coins got transferred to people who are long-term holders. The long-term holder cost basis stays low. And then the short-term holders start to build on top of them. And it's just like a structured pattern as we continue to go up, because we'll have this sideways action here, and then we're going to pop out to a new level. Where that level is going to be, we're going to find out. So, but you have limited time as these little, however these shapes you want to call them, as they kind of form, the smaller ones tend to go ahead and break out versus like the larger macro moves. The smaller they get, the sooner that they break out, if that makes sense in the structure. So, let's say that cost basis, right? Because you want to say, hey, for post-X, man, can I get my 100X? And here's the thing now. Look, can you get your 100X on post-X? As the way that Bitcoin is moving, because think about how much liquidity is going to Bitcoin. It takes just a little bit to start to come to these alts within stable coins to really send these alts up a lot. And so we'll talk about here the capital flows in a bit. But like your cost basis, let's say the cost basis is somewhere here, right? So your cost basis, so you should be sitting okay. You should already be up 3x. We get back to SAC price, you should be up 6x. And then things get real funky once you go to price discovery in the full flex of the bull. And then so you take your retracement from top to bottom. And I know this is convoluted, but let's just do the conservative estimate. That's on log base. We can just do it on here. So just linear base. And, and things like to very much pass because understand this is just liquidity just through the sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot of that liquidity coming back, boom, but then all the new liquidity from everybody else that never heard of post-chain that they will hear about it. So, right, let's say we just check up and we just, we go ahead and hit these targets, that 2.6, that 4.2. Inevitably, that will get hit through time. So now those people that are feeling good with their 6x, then they feel better with a 10x. They feel much better with an 18x. And then they feel really dang good with a, 28 to 30x. So, and that's, from a good dollar cost average, in this lower basin. Now, on maybe one buy in particular, let's say you bought down here. Okay, cool. Now you may be playing because, that's going to be with the narrative. They want to say, hey, like that 100x, whatever the case is. Post-chain and post-X, they actually did it, and they're going to try to measure from the exact low. So to get that 100x, these are levels that you want to watch out for in due time. What does that leave us? That's going to leave us right about 100x. So that's going to leave us right about, 2 zeros and a 1. So it's 3 zeros and a 9. To get that 100x from the low. Let me see if y'all can see that. So from the low, to get that 100x, you got to make it to 3 zeros and a 9. That is what's going to be tried to be filled in everybody's head. 100x, 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 100x. All this stuff, right? And each individual journey is different. Some people might have $100,000 invested. So whatever. Once they get to this 10x, they feel good about that. They feel even better once they get to this 20x, whatever the case may be. Everybody's a different size in this game. So understand as prices go up, not everybody needs a 300x. 1,000x, 100x. Some people just need a 20x, and they're like, all right, let's rec shop. And we'll see when that happens, you know? So, but like I said, if you're waiting, right? So if you're buying here, great. You're buying here, good. You're buying above SAC price, it'll be okay in the long term. We're talking 6, 8, 10 years. But you'll be like, man, I could have got a little bit more up out of that. And so you'll remember this stream. You'll probably kick yourself a few times if you feel like you're underweight in the post-chain ecosystem. I think people need to be weighted nicely in Ethereum, other layer ones like Solana and Phantom, some newer things as well as beta plays like, say, Celestia, and obviously post-chain. That's like an easy base portfolio. And shoot, get one meme coin for fun. Boom. And you can follow that. And if you did that, exactly what I'm saying. And yeah, that could be financial advice. Depends on if you actually do it. You know, most people are going to listen to it and not. So, and I know that. So your portfolio is going to do pretty dang well over the next year and a half. That's just flat out. So PostX looking pretty nice. The Ink token obviously outperforming PostX and PostChain. PHEX looking pretty good, up 4%. Let's look at the Ink token really quick. So Ink. And this is this is making its march back after getting crushed, like crushed, you know. So put that on log scale. But same thing. Now, when you guys look at so many charts, you're gonna start to see very similar patterns, right? We've seen this already. We already seen this, right? Where did we just see this? Dog whiff hat. And then what did it do? Pop up 64% up out of this, right? So I'm not saying it's going to be 64%, but it's the same sideways long pattern that it took double the duration of the time that it took to go up. It's taking 2 times as long going sideways. That's where you say, okay, this didn't dump down and keep just dumping. It created higher highs. Oh, this is the golden window, y'all, before we go boop. And so where can we go? Where's the next level to look out for the Ink token? Let's take a look. So we're straddling right here at that 382. The next level is going to be this 0.5, which is going to be about $6. And then golden ratio, right about $10. So next stop, a double from here. Next stop after that is a 3x on your money. And that can happen in relatively short order. So pretty good. Very constructive chart. The volume is there. Let's see here. I want to see if we can do fixed range volume profile. So let's see, where is everybody positioned? And let me adjust this because I like mine on the right. Let me do some adjusting, y'all. Right. Inputs. We need to see a little bit more information. One second. So let's go here. And I need to see a little bit more area. There we go. Let's crank this up to like at least. We'll go to 100. That should give me what I'm looking for. All right. So where are people positioned in the Ink token? And let me explain this. So how does this work looking at the fixed range for the volume profile? Volume is a measurement of how much money is being spent or whatever. So spent both ways. So bought and sold within a certain day or time period. Now, when we look at it from the sideways, we see at certain areas of accumulation where most people interact. So the blue is going to be the buy side. The yellow or goldish color is going to be the sell side. So for example, you really want to know, hey, where do most people buy at? Like, you can actually, take off the sell side. Let me see. So technically you don't have to show the sell side, but I do like it. So you have the point of control. There's some other things to kind of look into too as well. But the gist of what you can do to kind of understand the positioning of everybody is say, hey, how many people interacted at this level previously from this point here to this point here? And you find that most people accumulated here. So about $1. The next cohort of people that on the buy side really actually or a little bit more is right here at this $3 where a lot of people are accumulating here. So in future reference, okay, like, hey, well, some people accumulated $1, some people accumulated $3, but understand like most people have been reshuffled. There's not been, so because on the way back up, there are not many people that have even interacted at these higher prices. So that's why people always get confused at how can prices go up so high in the bull is because there's been a reshuffling of the coins. And then so now there's not much pressure, sell pressure, because generally not too many people even bought at these levels. Look at how small these volume profiles on the side are. And then so that means when new liquidity comes, right, there's not going to be too much people like saying, hey, all right, let me go ahead and just get back out at my cost basis and because I'm out of here. All that already happened here. Now you're going to have some people at some point that they take profit. But like I said, but then do the round numbers from here. So when you get to that 10x from $1, that's when a lot of people like to take profit. So some of these guys might take some profit. When you get that 10x from $3, that's right, $30. So use those times when people like to say, all right, got my 10x or my 20x. Those are generally ideas to kind of think about on sell pressure on the way up. But understand the community and who are the people who hold majority of these coins. Most of these coins are people who have interacted with the Hex ecosystem prior. These are people that hold stuff for a long time. So understanding those dynamics, Ink token, it's on its way. And so same thing. Are you going to wait for it to be $30 or right here at $3? Still before majority. And here's the thing. Here's the cliff, right? So for example, or the ledge, you're good here. Once we get up into here, you're missing the boat. So this is like really like the last call for Ink, to be honest, right here at $3.31. If we get a little bit of dip, great, but that's not guaranteed. So plan and operate accordingly. So yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. We went in the other night. Like literally, when I do consultations, you guys, I don't just be like, oh, an hour. Like we were on for 3-4 hours. We went through all this stuff, man. But just from that consultation, everything we talked about, you're already up, right? Up. The proof is in the pudding when you do the research, So other altcoins that I have in the portfolio. Now, for example, Fetch AI, I've had for some time, but that one's kind of far gone. It's up there. But there's some other plays, but I'll tell you offline. So post-chain ecosystem looking good. All right, so let's truck over. Let's look at some things here going on in the market. We have some good things to kind of keep in mind. So this is by Stock Money Lizards, and really just thinking about so we have the long-term trend line through time. And what do we see? We see the bear markets and the lower basin of prices coming to interact with this long-term trend line. Now, the interesting thing is you don't always have to get back up to the all-time high to face that resistance, right? You see this resistance here in 2019, we came back down and then we just broke right through it. We had that resistance here coming through the bear market. We had that little bit of liquidity push before it was like, the war is really happening in Ukraine. And so we just came back down. All the, the faucet ran on all of that lever. So the faucet just ran and everything's out. And then what do? We faced that resistance for quite some time at that 52K, and then boop, came back down, test, that low 40s and high 39s, and boop, we came back above it. And then so the interesting thing is for these peak zone, look at this peak zone where you find yourself making it up to, whatever level here in yellow, you find that each peak. So peak number 1, peak number 2 back here. And so as you're looking at this, we're halfway up towards that. So we've got, and then you see the steady growth through time. So we'll find a steady growth through time, leading us into 2025. So that's looking pretty dang bullish for sure. And that's Bitcoin, by the way. Next. So let's really break down what is this. I know people you're talking about Bitcoin so much, but realize We pay a bit attention to Bitcoin first so we can understand the main catalyst of what's going to move these alts. Capital flows is a big thing. So this is a record-breaking day that we're currently experiencing, which is it's pretty dang cool to see. I'm not even gonna lie, Bitcoin essentially, spot Bitcoin ETF just broke an all-time volume record with a total of $2.4 billion, right? So look at this. Like, hold on, let's zoom in on that one more time. 2.4 billion just interacting here. And who's doing a lot of this? So look at the colors. So we got white, right? I forget who BITB is, but IBIT. That is BlackRock. BlackRock legitimately, they bought $1.3 billion of Bitcoin today. Like, who in the world is saying, let me just throw a billy on this asset in a day? That is ridiculous, y'all. But this even beats day number 1 of the ETF launch. So it beats day number 1 by a smidge. But the fact that it's increasing 2 months in, the inflows are pretty cool. So we'll get the rest of the data tomorrow for today. But that's, the proof is in the pudding, yeah. TradFi wants this asset. And they're, as of right now, it don't look like they're calming down. But the key thing is why Bitcoin was able to have such of a good corresponding 2 days in a row. The big difference between the inflows, between last week, like we had a good day on the 20th, but today, Grayscale, they didn't sell that much because traditionally they had been selling hundreds of millions per day. They only sold 80 million today, which is like very little for them. So that's the least amount that they've sold in this whole time that the ETFs have kind of been a thing. So if we continue to see dwindling outflows from GBTC and more inflows from the rest of these ETFs, price gonna keep doing what it's doing, y'all. These are the major drivers that we're seeing. So pretty live, looking pretty good. So we can track this just a little bit more tightly in terms of saying, okay. So and so this is the guy to follow when it comes to all Bitcoin ETF stuff. Go ahead and give him a follow, James. So with that being said, and let me see if we can actually get this to show everything. There we go. Pull that down. So go follow James. Cointucky Derby update. It's going to be a solid flow day for Bitcoin. That it was. ETFs, once we get the data for the remaining ETFs, don't have it yet, obviously. But, without having to see everything, the ETFs purchased at least 400 million worth of Bitcoin today. And that's just these few that they were able to kind of track. And so, look at these flows, man. This is legit. Like, this is a lot of money, y'all. A lot of money. And so the biggest thing is to really just look at cumulative total flows, what's been going on. Fidelity and BlackRock, they've been really taking this stuff serious. Grayscale, people are just getting up out of that trade and going into Coinbase stock and all this other stuff as well to stay in it. But in order to position, they've got to sell this because it's been unlocked for them. The people that had it while it was still in this trust. But anyways, the flows are coming, man. And they're here for Bitcoin. They're going to make its way into other assets. So now how do I know that? We have on-chain data. So let me introduce you guys to some of the net flows. So we can track net flows through time. And what we can see, we have Bitcoin in orange, Ethereum in blue, stable coins, and because stable coins are going to be the proxy, because stable coins are going to lead their way into altcoins and also some Ethereum. But when you see stable coins rise, typically this is when you see the altcoins really start to do their thing. And so if we kind of zoom in, let's kind of zoom in the last cycle really briefly. And I've talked about, the ordination of how the process goes, of the order of Bitcoin pumping first and Ethereum, then stables after. So it's not too peculiar. It's not like a peculiar thing to see the rotation, but let's talk about it. So rotation during this time, last cycle, It's pretty mundane. Bitcoin and stable is really just chilling, trekking along. And look at the little bouncing dot there. So chilling along, all pretty stagnant. Then Bitcoin rushes up to the upside first. So y'all see that right here? Bitcoin rushing up, Ethereum rushing up, but not as much liquidity on that net change. So during this time, you find about $5.5 billion going into Bitcoin, only about $2.4 billion going into Ethereum, but only $1 billion. So a fifth of what's going into Bitcoin at this time. So remember that ratio, 1/5 of what's going on into Bitcoin at that time is going into stables, right? So altcoins still ain't pumping, and Bitcoin's doing okay. You see price skyrocketing as the inflows for Bitcoin skyrocket as well. Now you see Bitcoin, let's take it this peak once Bitcoin got back up to its all-time high, about like 19K. So now you go from 5 billion just to about 15 billion, give or take. So 3 times that multiplier of what happened to Bitcoin. But you only see, just about 2.8 billion go into the stables during that time. So what happens? You see Ethereum really start to catch up once Bitcoin gets to about $60 billion of new net capital flow coming in. And the key is this. Once Bitcoin tops out there, you start to see, okay, Ethereum really start to come in and round out. But then you start to especially see, okay, once Bitcoin has proved itself, it's like, this thing ain't stopping. Then that's when majority of people, even TradFi people, even people that we considered like smart investors, that's when they actually like, okay, why not? Let's get our stable coins. Let's go into DeFi and all that jazz. And then and I talk about all the time, not until January, February of 2021 did altcoins and not every altcoin, because I'm not just going to say every altcoin is not going to, but I'm talking about that time period of where you actually have the 10x in your portfolio. You might be on your way to that 10, 20x, but we actually have that 10x is when the actual capital is in the market and goes to stable coins into the alts. And so you don't see that till February, March of 2021. But what do you see? You see the stagnation for stable coins. Then January comes, and then you start to see, okay, now it's coming, right? And then, alts take off all through the rest of, 2021. And they carry through, And the crazy thing is, alts still want to, check these stablecoins. They still want to pump. They even pumped after, because I remember, some things I remember Phantom was pumping in January of 2022 still. Oh, snaps, almost $4. While Bitcoin and Ethereum are draining. So alts are going to last a little bit longer, but then they start later. Look at the capital ordination. Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, then alts, aka stablecoins. So let's zoom in today. Not everybody's showing this information. You're getting it here today for free. So as we look at today, let's see here. All right, zoomed in too much. Let's restart. Hold on. Well, that's actually pretty good. Let me see. That's up until today. So, one more time. We had altcoins basically have not much interest until October of 2023. Sorry, y'all. This thing's going back and forth. I think we got it. All right. And how can we tell that? And let's just look at just the stable coins net capital change by itself. So we can take away Bitcoin and we can take away Ethereum. So no one had any interest really, truly in the broader risk on assets within crypto. Like I said, until October of 2023. You see how we were net negative, billions of dollars, especially in 2022, net negative, where it was just a vacuum of $4 billion just coming out of all the alts at the worst, and then it slow leaked through time. While Bitcoin's going up, altcoins still getting drained pretty heavily because at this time, look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin had already flipped positive in February 2023, right? So those inflows and then really, got kicked up here as well in October. But that was not the case. So that's why there was that divergence between Bitcoin and altcoins, while altcoins still continue to go sideways to down, while Bitcoin was pumping. That new net capital change didn't really start to take place until October 2023. And so what do we have here? We have time where, things are looking pretty good. Now we're net positive just by currently about 3.6 billion. It's pretty good. So let's say, okay, we have new capital, net capital change of 3.6 billion. Let's compare that to where altcoins have been. And here's the thing, y'all. New capital, net capital change, altcoins have meant, this lets you know how much runway we got. It's touched levels of $23 billion. So we got 6. So basically, we got 4 times more capital. That's how you know, okay, look. Think about the coins like Hex, Phantom, Alluvium, Solana, whatever alt that's been around for more than one cycle. When those are ripping and running, right? June of 2021, May of 2021, there's at this time, stablecoin net change. There's a whole bunch went into stablecoins and they find their way to altcoins, give or take. So there's money coming into stables. Okay. Now, with that being said, you got to understand the valuations were some of them 50x higher, 80x higher than where they are currently, 20x higher than where they are currently. But here's the difference. But we only need 4 times more capital to get those multipliers. So y'all see that? That's Metcalfe's law at its finest. We're at 6 billion and we've seen levels of 23 billion for stable coins, like I said, and thus finding its way to alts. So this thing just getting started. If you're happy with what your alt has done already, oh yeah, it's gonna get funky real soon. So I'll be tracking this. We get, if not weekly, monthly updates in the Vaulted Crypto on this metric in particular, so you can see how you're positioned and see when we get to these certain levels. Things are looking pretty dang good. Lastly, let's go ahead and track this down. So liquidations for the day. And we're looking at BTC in particular as of today. On the short side, we had 60 million liquidated. Yesterday, another big day of liquidations. There's $97 million being liquidated. So you have people getting liquidated out their shorts, turning into buyers, and you have BlackRock buying legitimately $1 billion. Hey, let's just throw a Billy over there. All right, cool. We'll come back tomorrow. I'll probably do some more of that. All these things happening at once. So this is why Bitcoin has the price. Let's see where it's at. This is why Bitcoin has the price of 56K. They're like, oh man, why is it ahead of trend so fast? Because of these factors, y'all. So Ethereum looking pretty nice. We were just below 3,000 not too long ago. We're at $3,200. It's on its way to 34. And there's really not too much to say, but I'm just saying, just to answer the question, are we back? Some things are back, but the real bull, the real altcoin season is on the way. So what will you do in the time to come? And your is correct. Yes, sir. So, it's good stuff. Really, really, really good stuff. Yes, precisely. When those people get shorted out, stopped out those shorts, man, turned into buyers. It's just the way it works. Leverage is, you don't know what you're doing, leverage is going to get you wrecked. At most, man, crypto is so volatile. At most, man, you need 3x leverage, right? And there's people that are doing 10x, 20x, crazy stuff, So, and you can really so the thing is, you could really look and say, okay, let's see the real-time liquidations. Let's look at for BTC, for example. And let's say the people that got liquidated out of more than $1 million. Look at this. This is just today. These are the crazy people that got look at this. They're getting liquidated out of $1 million. Whoever these people are, man. Or groups, whatever. But one thing that you'll notice, these are the foreign players. They're using other exchanges like OKX. Stuff like that. Huobi, Binance. Across the pond, man, they are getting wrecked. Yo, yikes. So that's just what it is. Thank you for your service. Thank you for contributing to all our backs. because when Bitcoin pumps, we're going to see that pump come over to other stuff too. So, good time in crypto, but time is dwindling down. Yeah. Do not short a market that is long on the secular trend. That's just the way it goes, man. So cool stream today. I definitely will be back on Wednesday. So same time Wednesday, 8:30 Central Standard Time. Y'all, let me go ahead and we'll go through it real quick. Let me put myself back up on the screen. All right. So the vault of crypto. We're way ahead of the game. Way, way, way ahead of the game. You got to ask yourself, do you want to be ahead or you want to be a laggard? That's just the way the cookie crumbles, and it's your choice because everybody is grown enough to make their own choice, right? Like everyone's grown here, unless you're a younger person. But if you're younger, hey, you know what? You got a tremendous opportunity. You got a tremendous opportunity because you got time on your side. But for y'all that might be 30, 40, 50, going into retirement, the sooner that you can figure this stuff out, the better. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But let's go ahead and put that back up on screen. So, great stream. Appreciate it. Welcome to the vault. We're here. This is the basis. This is the beginning, but there's much more stuff inside. Obviously checking Ethereum, checking some of these other things, but I literally I make it so plain and easy for people that's like, hey man, I'm not really sure about getting in the group and all that kind of stuff. All right, cool. That's fine. But come and just get some basics. Learn how to look at some, on-chain data. Learn how to do a little bit of TA. But once you learn the basics, there's more. Come and get it. There's more. But even outside of that, a lot of good stuff. But head over to the services tab, and it's pretty basic. It's literally as easy as doing anything on any other social media platform. Click join. You're gonna get a lot for what you're giving up, which is a couple bucks, but hey, it takes you to have the fortitude to say, hey, I'm investing into my knowledge. The biggest thing that I did a long time ago when I started my investing journey, I did not hesitate when it came to spending for knowledge. It is the best information that you can get because the more that you know, you can't forget it, and that's the key. Not just telling people what to buy. It's just about hey, accumulating the knowledge that no one can ever take from you. And that's the key. So definitely hit the link, man. Link is in the bio. So yeah, we'll round it out there. And yeah, don't be scared, man. That's just what it is. Don't be scared. 2024 is going to be a year that a lot of us will remember because it's really just getting we are in the first 2 months of 2024. As things kind of go, this is just how 2022 was a year that people won't forget. 2024 is going to be a year that people are going to man, I remember that in 2030. They're like, man, you remember that? Remember that year, 2024? We're going to remember that because I'm going to still be here. 2030, I'm going to be still here doing the same thing. And I'm going to be like, hey, y'all. Right here, I'm trying to help you out for free. And then you want to learn some security. Learn how to get cold storage. Learn what hot wallets to use on different networks, right? Different blockchains. There's many of them out there, not just MetaMask. Expand your knowledge base. It's really helpful for you to get access, and do this the right way. So appreciate y'all, man. I'll leave it here. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. All right.